What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and today on our Versus series, we're going to take a look at another battle that you guys voted for, Null the Symbiote God taking on Spawn. Now, as we do here, we're going to break down each of these characters in terms of their origin and powers, and then declare a winner. And without further ado, we'll get things started by looking at Null. Now, Null's origin is a bit complicated, right? His first full appearance was in Venom number 3 in 2018, and Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman are generally regarded as the creators of Null. However, it was later revealed that Null had actually appeared 5 years earlier in Thor God of Thunder number 6 as an unnamed entity. So for that reason, Jason Aaron and Butch Juice are oftentimes credited as co-creators of Null as well, albeit he didn't really seem to have a name at the time. Now, as for my opinion on the matter, I think that Donny Cates is clearly the creative force behind Null, and I highly doubt that Jason Aaron had any idea that he was creating Null when he wrote Thor number 6, so I consider Cates and Stegman to be the creators of the Symbiote God. But regardless, Null has been around basically forever, as in longer than the universe has existed in Marvel Comics. And after the first Firmament, which is basically the first Marvel universe to exist, Null drifted through the abyss of nothing before time itself started. Now all that changes when the Celestials begin creating the universe, which wakes him up and really pisses him off because the darkness he enjoys has basically been ruined by the light of creation. So literally, Null the Symbiote God got pissed off because the sun came up and woke him up out of his sleep. That's basically what it is, more or less. Now, to get his revenge, Null forges a sword known as the All Black from the shadow that he casts because of the presence of light and uses it to cut the head off one of the Celestials. He's then banished back into the void by the other Celestials, uses the decapitated head of the Celestial to temper his sword in its cosmic energy, and sets out to kill as many gods as he can until he crashes on an unnamed planet and is defeated by Gore the God Butcher, who steals the All Black sword from Null, and then he basically enters a sleep-like state for an extended period of time. Now, after he wakes up, Null accomplishes what we know him best for. Once he figures out that he can bond the living abyss that makes up his armor with lesser beings, he creates a race of symbiotes that he then uses as an army to accomplish his goal of exterminating the light of the universe and killing and enslaving even more gods. Now, things ultimately go south for Null when two of his symbiotes journey to Earth, and one of them, Grendel, encounters Thor, who uses a blast of lightning to separate Null from most of his symbiotes. Now, as a result, many of Null's symbiotes bond to benevolent hosts, which corrupts the hive mind that they all share and causes them to rebel against and imprison Null within their home planet. Now, this race would eventually go on to be known as the Clintar, and would be the race that the Venom symbiote and other symbiotes of the Marvel Universe belong to. Now, as you probably know, Null was recently reawakened and freed from his prison in the aftermath of the Absolute Carnage event, and is once again working his way through the universe, conquering planets as he heads to Earth. Now, as far as powers go, Null's are extremely vast, given that he is an ancient deity and has existed longer than the universe itself. Now, he's able to create and control the dark energy that made up the primordial darkness that was the abyss that Null inhabited before the creation of the universe. His mastery of this dark energy appears to be basically endless. Now, as I mentioned earlier, he was able to harness it to create All Black, a weapon capable of slaying a Celestial, one of the most powerful cosmic entities in the Marvel Universe. Null was also able to create an entire planet and race of symbiotes from this energy, and was able to possess powerful cosmic beings and deities using it. Null's able to exercise complete dominion over his creations, even when they're light years away. And of course, he's destroyed countless planets and stars, so we're talking serious power levels when discussing Null. Now, in addition to this, Null possesses super strength, having been able to kill several deities and swing All Black with enough force to behead a Celestial and overpowering the Silver Surfer easily, although it should be noted that the Surfer was significantly weakened from the way he normally is. Now, the reason that the Surfer was basically weakened was that he exhausted most of his power cosmic in an attack on Null, which did injure him but caused no lasting damage, nor did psionic beams from Ego the Living Planet. And so because of this, along with the fact that he survived the blast from a Celestial, we know that Null's durability is at an absolutely insane level. But in the event that he is injured, he has an extremely efficient regenerative healing factor that can heal injuries that would be fatal not only to any mortal, but even cosmic entities and other deities. And so going up against Null, we have Spawn. Now, Spawn was created by Todd McFarlane and first appeared in a self-titled issue with number 1 in 1992. Now, Spawn's the alter ego of Al Simmons, whose father was a traveling salesman and whose mother was an actual, literal Satanist. Now, as Al reaches adulthood, he joins the Marine Corps, followed by a stint in the Secret Service, and finally the CIA. Now, working as a CIA assassin who begins to question the motivations and methods employed by the agency and is summarily killed by his partner at the behest of one of their supporters, after he dies, Al is sent to hell Hell, since some of the people that he killed during his career as a CIA assassin were actually innocent. Now, once he's in Hell, Al trades his soul to a demon named Malebolgia for the opportunity to see his wife one more time, and in doing so, becomes a Hellspawn, a superpowered demonic entity forced to do Malebolgia's bidding. Now, ultimately, Simmons is sent back to Earth having lost most of his memories, and once he's on Earth, Spawn devotes his time to using his powers to battle crime in New York City, pitting him at odds with the Mafia and other criminals before moving on to more powerful opponents, including angels, demons, and gods. Now, Spawn draws his powers from a symbiotic suit known as the K7 Letha that is made up of a magical substance called necroplasm that feeds off the energy emitted by his body. Now, the symbiote grants Spawn a variety of powers, including superhuman strength, speed, and durability, as well as allowing him to shapeshift and create necroplasm shields and weapons, and also gives him an ESP-like ability to warn him of impending danger, kind of like Peter Parker's spider sense. Now, technically speaking, Spawn does not have a human body, as he's also able to take extreme amounts of damage and has survived many injuries that would be fatal to mortals, such as being electrocuted, impaled, and dismembered. Now, he has even walked through the lava in the fires of hell without being permanently injured, and it's been stated that the only way to kill Spawn is to decapitate him with a weapon of heavenly or magical origin. Now, Spawn is both telekinetic and telepathic, and is able to use his telepathy to influence the thoughts and behaviors of others, as well as create elaborate illusions. He possesses the powers of flight, teleportation, and invisibility, can phase through solid objects, and can even stop time. Now, one of his more interesting abilities is that he can summon the souls of all the people an individual has ever harmed and allow them to rip that individual apart. Now, as we can see, Spawn has a wide array of abilities that can make him a formidable combatant and even go toe-to-toe with some extremely powerful beings. Now, Spawn is also able to perform powerful feats of magic, but the amount that he can use this power for is finite, as each time he uses his magic, he depletes his magical reservoir. Now, this limitation of Spawn's power is often depicted on panel with a counter that lets the reader know how much magical energy he has left, but this has admittedly been inconsistently written, and sometimes it seems that that limitation is in place, while other times it does not seem to be in place, depending on what the storyline calls for at the time. So while this magic is really only limited by his imagination in terms of what he can do with it, he has to be careful in using it, because once it's depleted, he can't produce any more of it. But is he powerful enough to take out Null, the god of the symbiotes? Well, before we answer that question, I want to address what some people are likely going to point out as one of Spawn's most impressive feats that suggests he has the ability to warp reality. Now, fans of Spawn probably know that I'm referring to the instance when Spawn traps both God and Satan in a pocket universe and basically wipes out the entirety of heaven, hell, and earth before remaking mankind. Now, if we take this feat at face value, it suggests that Spawn is at or near omnipotence, but this comes with a couple of caveats. First, in the Spawn universe, God and Satan are merely deities, and God is not the progenitor or ruler of the universe like the one above all in Marvel Comics. In fact, while both beings are nearly omnipotent, neither of them are truly omnipotent. So it isn't like Spawn trapped the most powerful being in his universe in a pocket dimension. The other caveat is that when Spawn did this, he had been granted extra power by the Mother, who is the actual creator of the universe, and therefore Spawn was operating at a level vastly above his normal power levels. And so as for who wins this battle, if we take Spawn at his normal power level, I think Null wins this match without much difficulty. While Spawn is definitely no slouch, he is not a universal level entity like Null is, and I would even go as far as to say multi-level. Null himself is a god older than the universe itself and has slain entities far more powerful than Spawn. And so I see this playing out as Spawn throwing everything he has at Null and depleting all of his demonic magical reserves. But since Null has endured blasts from a celestial as well as the power cosmic, I don't think Spawn is going to be able to mortally wound him. Now, Null is going to have a bit of a tough time defeating Spawn, as I think Spawn could defeat a ton of symbiotes. But if we take into account All Black, which has been capable of beheading a celestial, I don't see Spawn surviving a decapitating blow from All Black, because even though it doesn't technically come from heaven, it is still divine in origin, having been created by a god. And that's how I see this battle ultimately playing out, given that we're taking Spawn as only having the abilities he normally possesses. Now, if he was amped up by Mother once again, he could probably defeat Null by trapping him in a pocket universe and then leaving him there. But that's not really a fair fight, since we'd be basically giving him abilities that he does not inherently possess as a Hellspawn. So ultimately, going pound for pound in their normal states, I'm going to give this victory to Null. But with that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to an end. I want to say thank you to all of you for being patrons. I love you guys. Be on the lookout for that poll. Make sure you guys vote, and I will catch you all later. Peace.